Welcome, everyone, to the Cancer New Moon meditation. For those of you who might be new to this work, I just wanted to bring a few words of introduction. Um, we work each month at the new moon and full moon because these are the periods in the monthly cycle when we're told that the veils which normally separate the inner and outer worlds thin, and the inner teachers or masters of the wisdom make themselves available for members of the human kingdom to make a collective approach. And so we work to build that bridge in consciousness whereby we can provide a channel within the human kingdom through which the energies of light and love and power can be distributed to humanity and to the three lower kingdoms in nature. So it's a planetary type of service. As I said, it's carried forward month in and month out by groups large and small throughout the world. And so this group is an effort that's contributing towards that larger effort. And we usually begin with a moment of silence to link up with each other and with this worldwide group. So let's do that now, followed by the sounding of the mantra. Lead us, O Lord, from darkness to light, from the unreal to the real, from death to immortality. And we'll continue with a brief visualization to begin our work. Visualize yourself as standing to one side of a vast field of closed lotus buds, which rest on their broad green leaves. Above you is the blue of heaven, and ahead of you, across the field of buds and leaves, and on the far horizon, is a golden gate with the two halves of its doors closed. Then picture yourself as watching the slow opening of the buds until little by little the field changes from green to gold, and all that can be seen is a mass of golden flowers wide open in the sun. Then imagine yourself putting a foot upon the field and finding, instead of the mud and water which had been anticipated, a firm path which appears before you as you advance, dividing the field into two halves and leading straight to the golden gates. As you advance along this path, imagine the two halves of the gate slowly opening as you go forward in confidence, looking at the gate and not at your feet. This work that we do is part of a wider effort by many individuals and groups across many different traditions in preparation for the upcoming festival week, or some are celebrating the Mayan calendar event in December of 2012. And it seems to me that this particular festival, the Festival of Cancer, being the polar opposite of the festival week energies of Capricorn, holds a particular significance in our preparatory work for that important time. We're told always by the Tibetan that the polar opposites in the zodiacal wheel actually form one sign. And to the extent that we in our consciousness can bridge those two energies, we are providing a service. And so if this is true, then this time, this Cancer period, is really a significant time, as I said, in this preparatory work. If Cancer and Capricorn are actually one sign, we know that therefore Cancer has much to do with this idea of initiation, a keynote of Capricorn, but therefore a keynote of Cancer. Both signs, it's said, are related to the gates, the two great gates of the zodiac, Cancer being related to the wide gate, the gate that is easily entered, the gate into incarnation, whereas Capricorn is usually related to the narrow gate, which is difficult to enter, and which can only be done so through the process of initiation. But it does seem, since the two signs are one, and that in the teachings of esoteric astrology, the fourth sign, this fourth sign of Cancer, is related very much to the ashram, the inner ashram, which are entered into through the gate of initiation, that this sign too holds real significance in relationship to initiation. And one of the most important phrases, and one of the simplest ones, which the Tibetan gives us, is that initiation is simplification. And it's something that we can ponder because it's easy to remember, but perhaps not so easy to apply to ourselves, to our vehicles during this time of incredible stimulation in our planetary life. So if we in our quiet moments can remember that initiation is simplification, and the need for each of us to do what we can to simplify our own lives, and through that process become more available for those essential aspects of life, and therefore do away with some of the non-essential things in our lives. We will free ourselves up and therefore be more readily available to partake more fully in these, not only these preparatory full and new moon periods leading up to the festival week, but actually within that important opportunity, which now stands less than 6 months away. This is a beautiful image created by an artist named Francis Donald. If you're interested, you can find his work on the internet, I'm sure. Each each month he provides a beautiful image related to each of the zodiacal signs, based usually around the keynote for the sign. And this one in particular relates very much to the beautiful keynote for Cancer. I build a lighted house and therein dwell. Each of the 12 signs has a keynote, which we're told gives us, as we meditate on it, a deeper understanding of the essence of the sign under consideration. And so part of our service as a group is to, through our meditative practice, to build this keynote into human consciousness so that the thought form related to any particular sign on its higher level, the higher keynote, because there is, as we know, a more personality based keynote for each sign. As we build in the higher keynote for each of the signs, we serve to align human consciousness with the soul aspect of the energies pouring in at any particular time. So building a lighted house and dwelling therein certainly has an individual aspect to it, in that we are encouraged to align our consciousness within what's called the causal body, or the home of the soul, the mansion of the soul. Especially during our meditative efforts, we can align ourselves with that inner house. And the Tibetan gives some beautiful words at the end of the chapter in esoteric astrology, which I'm sure most of us have read many times, which speak very powerfully to this keynote. He speaks about this sense, which is so widespread at this time within humanity, of separation, of isolation, of loneliness. And he says that this isolation and separation, apparent separation and loneliness, is going to only increase in the human kingdom as we pass through this period of the dark night of the soul. But he also strongly affirms that it is an illusion, as we know. All of these moments of, I guess we could call them self-pity, that we pass through when we feel the depth of perhaps the aloneness of the spiritual path in a world that seems not interested and distracted. Um, this These feelings are really just an illusion, he says, and that if we cannot free ourselves from this by allowing the light to shine through the windows of our soul into our environment, then he says we will have to pass through an even deeper isolation. So it behooves us all to do what we can to shatter that collective thought form of separatism. The one, he says, the one true sin is the sin of separatism. and to recognize that indeed and in full we are united on the level of spirit and on the level even of the physical plane, if we come to understand the etheric vehicle as part and parcel of the physical vehicle. As we ponder the reality and fact of the etheric body, we know that this sense of isolation is really a misperception in consciousness, and that on the etheric level we are united. So it's an important point for us to consider. Cancer is also concerned with the mass, and the masses are, as we all know, awakening at this time. They are becoming empowered by the sense of their sheer numbers. There is a strength in numbers. There is a strength in coming together on the physical plane, and as this image shows, providing a real point of light. And we who work from the spiritual perspective can shed the collective light of our understanding to support all these movements which are coming forward primarily non-violently to strengthen them, to strengthen the hands of the new group of world servers, which is one of our functions, particularly at the new moon period, to strengthen all those men and women of goodwill who are reaching out in their own way to demand a greater sense of justice and balance in the principally economic structures of our world, and in the political structures which for too long have been controlled by those who seek not the good of the people. Now the people are demanding that their voices be heard and be taken into consideration in this great working out of the planetary karma. And I don't usually use horoscopes in these meetings because I know many of you are not astrologers, but just to state the importance of this particular alignment at this particular new moon period. This chart is drawn up for New York, but the alignments are there no matter where we find ourselves. I think you can see the arrow. The important alignment at this time is between, here's the planet Pluto, which we see at 7 degrees of Capricorn, making a near exact square with Uranus at 8 degrees of Aries, and then making again an almost exact opposition to the planet Mars, which is found at 8 degrees of Libra. So this, in astrological parlance, is called a T-square because it forms a T. And the power of it is usually related, we're told, to the open end of the T, which, as you can see in this case, is the sign of of Cancer, excuse me. And so this T-square, which will only be in effect for a few days, is powerful in releasing and empowering the masses of humanity, because Cancer, as we said, is the sign of mass consciousness. So the masses are emboldened to move outward. And with Mars, when Mars is involved, it's not an easy alignment. And so we hope that the events that are playing out in Syria at this time are not exacerbated more fully because of this alignment. And then in a new moon chart, we're told that the teaching is that this chart conditions the cycle for the month ahead. And we see that the alignment of the sun and the moon, which always occurs at the new moon, is at 26 degrees of Cancer. So I looked up the Sabian symbol for that degree. There is a Sabian symbol, a symbol that was given out for each of the degrees of the zodiac. And so for 27, we always use the number after. Um, the Sabian symbol is a violent storm in a canyon filled with expensive homes. So this is a symbol, and there's a book by Dane Rudhyar in which he gives his interpretation of these symbols. You can work it out for yourself, but I thought because of the particular alignment that this Sabian symbol is somewhat alarming. So I would just encourage us to hold our consciousness in the light so that we can do what we can to help maintain a balance within the midst of this storm which could be brewing. And here's a quote which we're told describes this time in which we're living. In the ancient archives, the situation in the world is described in the following terms: a time of rending, when the mountains which have sheltered fall from their high places, and the voices of men are lost in the crash and thunder of the fall. Such periods come only at rare and long intervals, and each time they come, a peculiarly significant period of divine activity is ushered in. Old things pass entirely away, yet the ancient landmarks are restored. So it's a time when old things are passing away, new forms are being built, and this certainly dovetails very much with the teaching of the sign of Cancer. It is, as we said, a sign of building a lighted house, building forms that can be more adequate to house the incoming light. It is the sign, from one perspective, that is very intimately connected and serves as a vehicle for this new incoming energy of the seventh ray, the ray of ceremonial order and magic. It pours through Cancer, particularly for those members of the human kingdom who are on the spiritual path. We're told the disciples, the initiates, and those aspirants who work with some semblance of understanding of the spiritual reality are imbued by this energy of the seventh ray at this time of the Cancer period. So therefore the planet Uranus becomes very strong, the planet which was involved in that T-square, the planet of the seventh ray. So we can work at this time with the intuitive impressions that might come through us, because Uranus is very much involved with the intuition, with the lightning bolts, which can come into our consciousness, particularly as we align with our group and dedicate ourselves to service. We can be impressed from on high with ideas that might provide a group vehicle of expression in alignment with the plan. So we should keep ourselves open to that. And just to mention very briefly, because we're running out of time, the idea of the rulers of any sign, the seventh ray energy pours through, we're told, not only the signs, but also the planetary rulers. So the seventh ray pours very much through the moon, and the moon, we know, is related to the form. And so, to the extent we're told in esoteric astrology that we can pierce through the veils of the moon, because the moon, we're told, is a illusion, it's a negative influence, it's a powerful thought form from the past which we need to pierce. um, this piercing can perhaps be very powerfully undertaken at this new moon period because of the particular planetary alignments which are um, along the first ray line. Uranus being the seventh ray planet, very much along the first ray line. The planet Pluto, the first ray planet on the destroyer aspect, and then Mars, the warrior itself. This powerful alignment, focusing, as I said, through the sign of Cancer, can serve to help us free ourselves from the baggage which the moon symbolized, free ourselves from the negative thought forms which we all have, which are related to our past conditioning, not only in our early years in this lifetime, but also from previous lives. We bring over this baggage, still conditioning us. And as we work together as a group, perhaps we can collectively strike a blow at this glamour, which also is symbolized by the astral plane. The moon is also very much related to that level of consciousness. So, on the physical and etheric levels where we're held prisoner, and the lives which constitute our vehicles are held prisoner, perhaps together we can strike a blow and free ourselves and therefore become more powerful vehicles for letting in the light. And as we pierce through the veils of the moon, we're told we reveal the esoteric ruler, the beautiful planet Neptune, the sacred planet along the sixth ray line, a planet which the Tibetan gives us some very interesting information in the secret doctrine related to this planet. He says, interestingly enough, that Neptune does not really belong to our system in spite of its apparent connection with the sun. The connection is imaginary. So this speaks to the power of Neptune, which perhaps, like the planet Venus, stands as a sun in some respects. It has such power and dignity that it stands much greater than the other planets. Among the secret orbs or star angels, Neptune was not included. Neptune is the god of reasoning. Well, it's certainly an intuitive type of reasoning. It's not a concrete mind reasoning because Neptune is very aligned with the Buddhic plane, the plane wherein the hierarchy can be found. Neptune, we're told, presides over and makes possible the second initiation, along, we're told, with the planets Venus and Jupiter, the Tibetan tells us. It's one of the major synthesizing planets. Yes, we're told in Cosmic Fire there are three synthesizing planets. These are along the three aspects, and Neptune is the synthesizing planet along the second ray line, the love line. Um, Uranus is along the first ray line of the synthesizing planet, and the third of that triangle, the planet Saturn, is along the third or matter line. So we can see that Neptune has much to do with the love aspect, and with the control of the emotional vehicle, which is the prerequisite for taking the second initiation. It is an absorbing or abstracting planet, and it is connected with the perfecting process. So that's probably enough. There's many more slides here. Seem to always overdo it a little bit, but perhaps it's most important that we go into our meditation at this time. Just working, just one brief final clip here. This is an image of the great Deva Lord Varuna, uh, who the Tibetan tells us here in Cosmic Fire, one of the most occult of the planets, Neptune, presides over the Devas of the waters. Their presiding Deva Lord, Varuna, the Raja of the astral plane, being an emanation from that planet. So it always seems apparent, therefore, that this sign of Cancer and this period in which the sun is in Cancer finds perhaps a real inlet for the Devas to work with humanity, and for humanity, for those of us in the human kingdom who have some understanding of the Devas, to work with them and at least be conscious that part of their role is to stimulate humanity, particularly as we work together in group formation, in meditation, in spiritual work, in the churches, in the Masonic movement. We're told the Devas, and in their many serried ranks, are there constantly pouring their stimulation into us and helping to lift us out of the lower astral realms which hold us. And so perhaps as we work now with our meditation, we can include in our consciousness a recognition that these devas are here with us. So let's begin. Opening ourselves energetically to the inflowing energies available to us. So let's sound the Om, visualizing a beam of light pouring in from the soul, flooding the mental body. Now a beam of light pouring in from the soul, purifying the astral vehicle. And now visualizing a beam of light pouring in and purifying the physical etheric body. Now link with the group soul. And the soul of all the other many groups. creating a group field. Breathe in unison with this vast group. Radiance are we and power. We stand forever with our hands outstretched, linking the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. We reach into the light and bring it down to meet the need. We reach into the silent place and bring from thence the gift of understanding. Thus with the light we work and turn the darkness into day. Now, maintaining an inner silence, slowly project the group onto Karana, the inner bridge of light to the spiritual hierarchy. Using the mantra, I see the greatest light. Visualize the group entering into the outer circle of the inner ashramic groups. Open the contours of the mind to the great lives in Shambhala, particularly the seventh Kumara. Breathe in rhythm with these great lives. And hold the consciousness open and receptive to the qualities of Cancer working out within our planetary life. Centering now within the group mind, ponder on the keynote for Cancer. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. And the implications of these words in both a spiritual and practical sense for all the people of the world. Visualize all true servers everywhere being strengthened to carry out their work. Now, as we silently sound the Om, visualize a white, five-pointed star hovering over the area of the Middle East. Visualize a great outpouring of fiery love through the star and through all the worlds, through all the kingdoms in nature, the animal, vegetable, and mineral kingdoms. See the fogs and mists of glamour and illusion being dissipated by this outpouring love. See the barriers of materialism, selfishness, and separatism breaking down, and the establishment of freedom, equality, and wholeness working out on earth. Again, sound the silent Om. Now recenter the consciousness within the periphery of the great ashram and with the world teacher, and dedicate yourself and your group to the service of the plan. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the Divine Self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. ponder the plan for our planet. Visualize a ball of brilliant light descending into the head center. See it as the planet glowing, and see the plan working out on Earth. And now distribute the energies through the Ajna center between the eyebrows, visualizing the planetary etheric body as a network of triangles. Distributing the energies through New York, London, Geneva, Darjeeling, Tokyo, sounding the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you very much. And the exact time of the new moon is at 12:25 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thank you.